sign for keeping secrets in my head, or any space you can find. Glad to see that I could help make your life a bit easier. But have you ever thought of how I felt? You need to think about your behavior.
When you think you got everything all together, there's always a wrench or a monkey wrench to get in the way to just put everything in perspective here, boys and girls. Hey, I am Simply Butch, and welcome to another edition of Butch On Sports. I am here, and as always, boys and girls, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in today here. We got a lot to talk about, and then some, okay, on sports news that you can't get enough of. We will take it, everything, and put everything in perspective, I hope. I really hope. I really hope to do so. So let's have at it here and get to the sports news. You know, I'm going to start off today with talking about those basketball games yesterday were so exciting. The Denver game in Portland, and then the nightcap that was so thrilling. It just tickled your funny bone here, especially when some comments I'll make later on in the show here about Stephen A. Smith. But it was just something spectacular. If you watched the Philadelphia game against Toronto in Toronto, you got a treat here. I have not realized that this is the first time ever that the NBA has never had a buzzer beater to win a game, especially a playoff game. Well, let me put it in perspective here. A playoff game. First buzzer beater in a playoff game. It was just something to behold. But as soon as I get ready to talk about it and elaborate on it, then we get the monkey wrench in the whole way about I got the news early this morning about 6:30 from one of my colleagues, and he ran it down. The Cleveland Cavaliers has finally found their next coach. After firing Tyronn Lue in the middle of the season last year, and went with an interim coach throughout the season with a team that just went from sugar to you fill in the blank. They hired a coach that I wasn't expecting, but again, you could expect it because, again, he was flaunting with the professional ranks in the first place. John Beilein, Michigan's coach, has agreed to a 5-year deal to become the head coach now of the Cleveland Cavaliers. It was first reported by ESPN, and then the news just spread like wildfire. I called some very close friends who's very close to Michigan. Ryan Amani is one of them, Fox 2 News, and watching him talk at 9 o'clock this morning about the particular, everyone is completely in shock. The Cavaliers gave him a 5-year deal. Beilein, 66 years old, has coached Michigan since 2007. He's been there 21 years, and then some, 22 if you want to kind of spike it up. It would have been his 22nd year if he started off this season. He has a long track record of successfulness in the amateur basketball core. He's coached every level imaginable. He's coached high school, junior college, Division I, II, and III. He was always a head coach. He was never an assistant. And was able to win everything he's gone to. He's coaching the D1 division, Canisius, Richmond, West Virginia, where Michigan stole him. I completely say stole stole him from West Virginia and came to Michigan and turned a very sad situation at Michigan at the time into a winning basketball organization, and a very respected one that is. He's taken everybody that I just mentioned in those 4 D1 colleges to the NBA tournament. He has been in 2 NCAA championships twice, the most recently last year in 2018. He's also won an NIT. So, the guy got it going on. Now, last year, when the Pistons were looking for a coach, John Beilein, and it shocked me to know not one, that he was one of the coaches that the Pistons were interviewing. Matter of fact, interviewed him twice. And I don't know if the price wasn't right. I don't know if it was piddly and diddling around. There's certain things that the Pistons do, and I've made it very public that, I can't figure out, not disliking, but just can't figure out, because I've always seen them say that your best people is someone who's connected and want to be here. And there's so many talented people in the Pistons organization in the past 20 years that you can pick and choose to maybe do the job that right now the head coach of the Pistons is right now, which is Dwayne Casey, which, by the way, was the coach of the year in the National Basketball Association before they got him here. Of course, Toronto fired him, leading on to Coach Nurse, who is now the coach there in Toronto. I said, well, that's a good move, but again, I thought the Pistons could do better, because, I think there's coaches out there that's familiar with the Pistons and can get a lot more respect from the Pistons brass. One of the things I looked at is that you got to have the respect of your players, so when one goes down, the other ones stand up. And John Beilein is seen to be the type of person, and he was at Michigan, of always being able to take a shaky situation and make it right. I remember the plane crash last year when he was getting ready to go to the Big Ten tournament, where the plane didn't get off the runway and crashed. Everyone was all right, but many were shaken. And he took a bad situation. I'm talking about the University of Michigan practicing in their practice unis to play a game and end up winning the whole doggone thing. That's something to behold. And you're talking about the Big Ten title. And then took them all the way to the NCAA finals. Sweet 16s. Going on and on and on. Yeah, you kind of want to wonder, what if the Pistons had looked at this guy for what he really can do and the record he has accumulated in getting a good coach here and making it better? Because the Pistons have a lot of young players. And believe it or not, the situation the Pistons were in this year, where basically those same so-called talented players they had on the bench and were starting wasn't getting the third, fourth, or any base at all. They was just doing plain old poorly and barely got in the playoffs the last game of the season. I always say the what if is not the thing here. I can say that a million times, because if was a fifth, we all be drunk. But what if the Pistons had hired this guy with the problems that Blake Griffin had physically and injury-wise, and Andre Drummond just used this man to a no-not-one to rang out like a wet dish rag? Man, and give him Drummond credit. He improved this game tremendously this year. But you can't rag someone out. And the play that they received from the bench was a joke. If they got that right, I believe the Pistons could have been a better team than what they were. And maybe be ranked in maybe the number 5 team or the number 4 team in the Eastern Division instead of the last place 8th team just barely getting in. But Beilein is very good at that. So I guess the question is that with the position that Cleveland is in right now, which they're in the lottery, and you ask yourself if they get that first lottery pick, which will be tomorrow, Tuesday, boys and girls, and they end up picking Williamson and taking the players surrounding Williamson and maybe some free agents and some other goodies in the draft and free agents as well, will they be a better team than they were this year from the motivation and the way Beilein takes care of his teams? That is going to be the challenge that everyone's going to look at. And then people will scratch their head. What if the Pistons went and picked this man up and gave him what he needed, gave him some security? I don't think this is all about money. I think it's a point that Mr. Beilein has been successful in everything he has touched. Again, from high school to D1. And he wants to challenge himself to go and take the market in the NBA, because that's the only thing he hasn't touched. And just see how good he is. He's 66 years old. Popovich just signed a contract, and he's 70 for an extension of 3 years. So you can't say it's too old. But you just don't wait and see when you coulda, shoulda, and woulda made a decision that maybe sometime you may regret. I know I've had people say what I couldn't do or what I shouldn't do, and I kind of balled on up for a minute, but yet and still, the Spirit told me to keep on pushing. And I was the better person for it. And those same people who said I should have did this and should have did that, I was too old to do this and too old to do that, they're sitting up there jealous and laughing at me. They're sitting up there asking me for 50 cents when I walk into a supermarket or store. Kind of funny how things go. But this guy, you can't blame him for second guessing or third guessing. He's going to try it. We wish him well in his attempt to make the Cleveland Cavaliers a big friend. And talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers. That organization seems like every doggone time they make that team or something better, they get somebody from Michigan to do it. I mean, they came and got Fred McLeod as the Cleveland Cavaliers main announcer, who was a staple as the Pistons announcer. And now they come to Michigan and go get Beilein. Wish you well. Hopefully, not at the expense of the Detroit Pistons. But they beat the Pistons to a no-not-one to a pulp. I'm going to be laughing to doomsday, just like I laughed at Stephen A. Smith when he said that Houston will win and be in the playoffs because of Kevin Durant being injured. I'm still laughing at that one. And of course, those particular games are set. Portland against Golden State. And Toronto against Milwaukee. The best teams are doing their thing. The Tigers will be down to Comerica Park to start a 3-game series against the Houston Astros tonight here. That'll be followed by a visit with the Oakland A's on May the 16th through the 19th, and the Miami Marlins the 21st through the 23rd. 10-game home schedule. So beware. Yours truly going to come and try to maybe catch a couple of those particular games and have some fun. Former Lions defensive coordinator Gunther Cunningham died Saturday after a brief bout with cancer. He was 72 years old. Gunther Cunningham will ever be remembered as one of the greatest men of our games. He left a lasting impact on every person who he, fortunately enough, worked alongside to. He was a very gracious person when I asked to interview him at times before he left out of here when we got the new coach as we have right now there. Always pleasant to talk to. Always had something good to say. Always motivating. And he never took anything for granted. He's been about 47 years as a coach, including 34 years in the National Football League, the final 8 which he spent with the Detroit Lions until he was removed for a new coaching staff. The organization said this as well. The organization is truly honored and proud to have been included in his distinguished coaching legacy. We extend our heartfelt sympathies to his wife Renee and his entire family. Gunther Cunningham, dead at the age of 72. We have no information about when the funeral is. Once we get that, we will pass it along to you there. Detroit Lions also announced that they have signed undrafted rookie free agent linebacker Jawan Young and released linebacker Trey Williams. Young comes to Detroit after splitting his college career at Marshall University and the University of Miami, Florida, where he played in 2014-15. He finished up his senior season at Marshall with 41 tackles and a pretty good doggone career. Also, the Lions announced that they have signed free agent wide receiver Tom Kennedy and Jordan Smallwood. Both Smallwood and Kennedy participated in the rookie camp just this weekend. In addition, the Lions had announced that they waived tight end Nate Beckert and tight end Donald Parham. So you're up to date with the Lions there. Detroit Pistons and Henry Ford Health System officially signed the final steel beam of the Henry Ford Detroit Pistons Performance Center that should be completed by the end of this year. It's connecting 2 facilities with a walkway. It's a multi-discipline complex that's slated to open, again, I repeat, 2019. It will house the new Pistons training facility and corporation headquarters for the Detroit Pistons, including a comprehensive sports medicine treatment and rehabilitation center managed by Henry Ford Health System, and in cooperation in public spaces available for community relations activities, networking, receptions, and team-hosted events. And congratulations to the top-seeded University of Michigan softball team, which won their 10th Big Ten tournament championship and the first since 2015. They did that Saturday with a 3-2 win over 3-time defending champion Minnesota. They did that in Bloomington, Indiana, and also congratulations to Detroit Mercy. They claimed the Horizon League championship with a pair of victories this past Saturday over University of Illinois of Chicago. University of Detroit Mercy softball team is headed to the NCAA tournament with gladness and happiness. 2 teams locally are in there, and of course there's wild card teams that will be picked as well. So we haven't got that news yet, but the championships are automatic seeds. They'll be in there. The best 2 out of 3, or 2-game knockout, I should say, when they start that particular tournament, at least for those 2 particular teams. And also, I should remind you that spring tournaments are already in here for the high schools of 2018-19 season, ending the school year with the spring postseason tournaments this week. It starts off with the boys and girls track and field, and also boys and girls lacrosse. All these activities will begin on Thursday, May the 16th. And some others as well, as baseball's going to be coming up along, and also the other spring sports that will finally conclude itself for a luxurious season of school year for the kiddies before they hit the summer and have their little vacation. And of course, you can get the assignments and the results, respectively, from the MHSAA website. Of course, there you can do that. Dylan Larkin scored with 1:13 left in overtime, and Corey Snyder stopped 24 shots, lifting the United States over Finland with a score of 3-2 this morning, which is, like 5-6 hours ahead of when you wake up. This was like a game that was played around about 10 o'clock in the morning while the kids were in school or you were at work, or some were just getting up having their first or second or third cup of coffee, or as I was, still in shock by John Beilein's appointment that he would no longer be coaching the University of Michigan, and got them in the flop now to have to look for a brand new coach. Dylan Larkins ended 3-3 overtime, carrying the puck inside the right circle and scoring on a wrist shot. I got to see that on the NHL network here, where I was in shock. And of course, we talk about hockey. St. Louis is playing San Jose tonight here. That's about a 9 o'clock start, or maybe a 9:15 start, I should say, tonight. That's on, I do believe, NBC Sports Network. You can see that game, and that should be pretty exciting here. And I think San Jose leads that series by a 1-0 count. Boston Bruins played yesterday, and they beat the crap out of Carolina. So they'll play again on Wednesday, I do believe. And or maybe Tuesday, I'm sorry. Tuesday will be the game they play there. And San Jose, again, at home, playing St. Louis tonight there. I am running out of fumes. But today was a shocking day because in Southeast Michigan, the state of Michigan, Damon Keefe, a famous judge, funeral was today. Doris Day passed away. Que cetera, et cetera. What will be, will be. Oh, boy. That was fitting, but again, kind of sad because I grew up on that. And Damon Keefe, a nice guy, a very nice judge, federal judge. And if you ever got to meet him, and I'm so blessed to be in the swing of being a journalist or whatnot there, that you bump into people like him. And you expect him to be just so hinky-dinky and kind of uppity, but he wasn't. He was just a person that maybe been your next-door neighbor and was just so interested in you improving yourself and urging you on to do the best you can. And if he could help you, he would do that too. So it's a kind of shocking and sad day in the state of Michigan there, as flags were posted at half-staff today in honor of Damon Keefe. I figured, and I thought it was appropriate to mention that man's name here today. That he was a great guy. Some may not enjoy some of the decisions that he made to better many people's lives, the majority of people's lives. And we do have that kind of world that is just topsy-turvy. I mean, this is a guy who battled the Ku Klux Klan, and when life was threatened, family's life was threatened because of the decisions he made in the courtroom, but stood tall in the community, and then some with many, many people, whites, blacks, and many denomination of people alike, enjoying the stance that he took to make this a better United States and also a better world. So with that saying, we're going to kind of end Butch On Sports with some music here. The Tigers had just got started 0-0 as they're playing the Houston Astros downtown Detroit at Comerica Park. Beilein is pitching on Wednesday, boys and girls. I've just got to tell you, if you're interested. Butch On Sports is a presentation of Oh My Darling Productions. And speaking of Wednesday, that's the next time we'll be on the air. It's Wednesday evening. And hopefully it is fruitful that we have just as much information as we had today. Yes, indeed. You can check out Butch On Sports on the Facebook page. Just go to Butch On Sports Facebook page and check out the goodies. And you need to be a member? Sure. Click the little thing here and I'll click you back and you'll be able to hear the podcast. And you don't want to do that? Okay. Go to Podomatic.com. Type in SIMPLYBUTCHTOO.Podomatic.com. And you hear, yes, you get to hear the podcast is there as well. You can also, the podcast is on the Game Sports Show sports page, WUPN, their sports show, Sprout Nation, Dave McKay, E.J. Russell, and some good news and good shows on that particular website as well. I am out of here. Again, Simply Butch stating, see y'all later on Wednesday, boys and girls. Y'all be good.